relationship between the roots and the coefficients of a quadratic equation. Now let's establish the general form of a quadratic equation. It is given as ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. That is the general form of a quadratic equation. Now the a is the coefficient of x squared. The b is the coefficient of x. And the c is the constant term. Now let us use alpha and beta to represent the roots of the quadratic equation. Now remember, anytime you solve a quadratic equation, you have the roots, which are the solutions to the quadratic equation. But in this instance, we are using alpha and beta to represent the roots of the quadratic equation. In that case, if we add the two roots together, alpha plus beta is going to be minus b over a. This is a formula derived for solving the sum of the roots of a quadratic equation. And the alpha beta, which is equal to c over a, is the formula derived from the quadratic equation for solving the product of the roots of the quadratic equation. So I want you to please to always remember this formula when you are solving questions involving the roots and coefficients of a quadratic equation. Alpha plus beta is equal to minus b over a. Then the second formula, alpha beta, is equals to c over a. So the first one is the sum or the addition, and the second one is the product or the multiplication. Now let us see how we're going to apply this formula in solving questions involving roots and the coefficients of a quadratic equation. Look at example 1. The question says, find the sum and product of the roots of the equation. 7x squared plus 2x plus 20 is equal to 0. Now notice what the question is asking us to look for. The sum and the product of the roots of the equation. So the first thing I'll do is to find out what is the a, b, and c in the given quadratic equation, which is 7x squared plus 2x plus 20 equal to 0. Recall the general form of the quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And we established that a is the coefficient of x squared. So which means whatever coefficient x squared is having is the value for a. While b is the coefficient of x, which means whatever coefficient of x the equation is having is the value for b. And c is a constant term, which means whatever constant is there in the quadratic equation is the value for c. That is what we'll have here in this example question. So which means our a will be what? Remember, a is the coefficient of x squared. So what is the coefficient of x squared here? It is 7. So a is 7. Then what is going to be our b? The b is the coefficient of x. So what is the coefficient of x here? It's 2. So b is equals to 2. What will be our c? Our c is the constant term in the equation, and that is 20. So we've gotten the values for A, B, and C. What is the next step? Is to look for the sum and the product. So let's start with the sum. Using the equation alpha plus beta equal to minus B over A. So here, minus, what is B? B is 2. over what is A? A is 7. So it becomes minus 2 over 7. That is the solution to the sum. Let's go to the product. The product is alpha beta equal to C over A. What is our C? The value for C is 20. What is our A? The value for A is 7. That's the solution to the question. So 20 over 7. That is for example 1. Let's move over to example 2. Find the sum and product of the root of the equation minus 3x squared minus 16x plus 63 equal to 0. So what do we do? It's the same step we took in example 1. Identify our A, B, and C. So in this case, what is our A? Remember the coefficient of x squared minus 3. What is our B? The coefficient of x, and that's minus 16. It's important you always recognize the signs attached to the numbers. And what is our C? Our C is 63. Once you've taken that step, the next step is to get the sum. Alpha plus beta, which is minus B over A. So this will be minus, what is B? Minus 16. So you have to be very careful of the signs. Very important. If not, you're going to make a mistake. Over, what is our A? Minus 3. So in this case, this minus can cancel this minus. So that's, I'll be left with minus 16 minus 16 over 3. That's the solution to the question. Now let's go to the next one. Alpha beta, which is the product. That's equals to C over A. What's our C? 63. And what's our A? Minus 3. Now, I can't leave my answer in this form. I had to simplify. A factor can divide, which is 3. Here, it's 1. 3 here is 2. And 3 here is 1. So this will be this minus 21. Remember, this is plus 63 dividing minus 3. So plus divide minus, it's minus 21. That is the solution to the question. Let's move to example 3. Given that minus 1 and minus 6 are the solutions of the quadratic equation x squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, find the values of b and c. Now, we have been given a quadratic equation here, which is x squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And the question is asking us to look for b and c. Still the same procedure. So let's see if we can determine our a, coefficient of x squared. What is the coefficient of x squared here? It's 1. Now remember, we don't usually write a 1. What is the coefficient of x to get a value for b? The coefficient of x here is b, and so b would be here. And what about the c, the constant term, is also c, so you can also leave it as c. That way, you're not confused, you know what to put into those values. Then we are given the root of the equations, so which means we know the value for alpha and beta. Alpha is the first value, minus 1, and beta is the second value, minus 6. So remember, alpha and beta stand for the roots of the equation, which are the solutions of the quadratic equations. And since in the question minus 1 and minus 6 are the solutions of the quadratic equation, it means those are the values for the alpha and the beta. So the first value is for alpha, the second value is for beta. So let's apply the formula now. Alpha plus beta equal to minus b over a. Alpha is minus 1 plus beta is minus 6 equal to minus b. Remember, a is 1. So let's simplify further. Minus 1 plus times minus 6 equal to minus b. Minus b divided 1 is minus b. So this is minus 7 equal to minus b. So here, this implies that if you divide both sides by minus 1, b will be equal to 7. Let's go for alpha beta, which is c over a. Alpha is minus 1 in bracket, beta is minus 6 in bracket multiplication equal to c. And remember, a is 1, so we can leave it out. So this is minus 1 times minus 6 is 6 equals to c. So this implies that the value for c is 6. So we've gotten the value for b and for c. The next example 4 is find in its simplest form the quadratic equation whose roots are minus 3 and minus 8. Now, when you are solving for a question like this in its simplest form, you come out with a general form of the quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. In this case, the value of a is 1 because the question says in its simplest form. We always take a, which is the coefficient of x squared, to be 1. But now we don't know the value of b. B is b and c is c. So we need to get their values so as to be able to get the quadratic equation. But now we're given the roots of the quadratic equation, so which means we know alpha and beta. Alpha is the first root, which is minus 3, and beta is the second root, which is minus 8. So with this, we know what to do next. Look for alpha beta. Alpha plus beta is equals to minus b over a. And this is minus 3 plus minus 8 equal to minus b. A is 1, so minus b divided 1 will be minus b. This will be minus 3 plus times minus 8 equal to minus b. So this will give you minus 11 equal to minus b. So if you divide both sides by the coefficient, you're going to, that's minus 1, you're going to have b equals to 11. So I've gotten a value for b. And let me divide this so that I have enough space to work with. The next thing is to go get a value for c. I'm using the formula alpha beta equals to c over a. Alpha is minus 3 times beta is minus 8 equal to c. A is 1, so c over 1 is c. Minus times minus is plus. 3 times 8 is 24 equals to c. So therefore c is equals to 24. So we've gotten the value for b and c. So what will now be the equation? The equation is going to be ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So put their values in. A, we already know is 1. So it's going to be x squared then plus b What is B? 11. So plus 11. Then plus C. What is C? Is 24 equals to 0. So that is the quadratic equation we're looking for. Let's look at example 5. Find in its simplest form the quadratic equation whose roots are -2 and -9. The same procedure starts with the general form of a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Here, a is 1, always 1 in its simplest form. But we don't know the value of b, so we're looking for b. C is c, we're looking for c. But now we're given the roots of the equation, so we know alpha as -2, and then we also know beta as -9. So in this case, what do we do? The same procedure. Alpha plus beta is equals to minus b over a, which is -2 plus beta is -9 equals to minus b. A is 1. So this is -2 plus times -9 equals to minus b, which is -11 equals to minus b. Divide both sides by -1, b will give you 11. So permit me again to divide the working space, to solve for alpha beta, which is c over a. Alpha is -2 in bracket, and beta is -9 in bracket equals to c. A is 1, so c over 1 is c. -2 times -9, it's 18 equals to c. So c is equals to 18. So what would be the quadratic equation? From the general form, a is 1, so it's going to be x squared plus b is 11x plus c is 18 plus 18 equals to 0. That's all. Now let's look at the last example, which is example 6. Find the sum and product of the root of the quadratic equation x squared minus x plus 1 equals to 0. So let's identify our a. Our a is 1, which is the coefficient of x squared. Let's identify our b, the coefficient of x, which is -1. And then let's identify our c, which is +1. So we're looking for the sum and product. So alpha plus beta is equals to minus b over a. So alpha plus beta will give you minus b is -1 over a is 1. And this will give you minus times minus is +1. So that's the sum. Let's go to the product. Alpha beta is c over a. What is c? It's 1. What is a? It's 1. So 1 divided 1 is equal to 1. So that's the solution to the question. Very easy, right? So we'll have an assignment to deal with. Number 1, 7x squared minus 5x plus 4 is equals to 0. You're looking for the sum and the product of the quadratic equation. And then number 2, you're finding the quadratic equation whose roots are +3 and -4. So work this out and put your answer in the comment section. Please remember to like the video and subscribe.